Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're on part 7 of my grounded guide for The Last of Us. It's the hardest difficulty. It's for the PS4, the remastered version of this game. So, you saw right there that I took, I believe, 3 shots, and I took out 2 people, so I missed one of the shots. This first spawn is 4 enemies deep, and then when you kill the third one, you'll get 3 more enemies, but it's preceded by the L3 button prompt to press, and then you'll see them silhouetted in the distance. They're jumping over the bus. So there is that was the third enemy killed, because now I see the L3 button prompt. So at this point you have enough time to melee with people before those guys get to you. But what I like to do is at least take half of that first wave out by killing 2 people right away. Just keep restarting. And then what I also would recommend is that you try to manipulate this geometry over here. And see, that guy got in. Sometimes they will get in a lucky punch. Sometimes it's related to the geometry. But if you stay like in this area here, they will mantle over it. And in the time they need to recover, you can then proceed to punch them. You could also use the 2x4, the wooden club that one of these enemies has. Okay, so did you see right there? Normally, like on the other difficulties, they would have the prompts for you, but what it is if they're shoving you, you need to shove them back. Or it's not really them shoving you, it's just you're missing a punch, so you have to tap on the triangle button. You could probably get away with just pressing it, but I just don't trust the game enough, so I keep tapping it. So I keep tapping it, and then once I shove the guy away from me, then I proceed to press the square button until he's deceased. So if you lose any HP, what you want to do is go down into this cupboard and pick some HP up. And then the only other item in this room that I'm aware of is a sugar packet on it's on one of the shelves. And you could always, of course, loot the bodies and see if they dropped anything, but they seldom do. And some of these desk drawers, I knew that they contain nothing, and the reason I was opening them was just to show you that fact. But from here on out, I'm just going to open the ones that I know have the stuff in it. So this locker also has some machine parts. Oh, not a machine part, excuse me. We'll have the a quarter of a piece of the bandage right there. And I've done this chapter a number of times. The first time I got to the bloater section where you're pulling on the crank with the generator, and I only had 1 hit on my person, so every time I even got grazed by an enemy, I would have to start over. And then one time I was doing really well, and well, I'll explain it when it happens, because it's going to come up pretty soon, and I'll warn you against it, because it's a glitch. It's really bad. So there's the smoke bomb. You need sugar for that, and also I'm not sure about the other ingredients. However, we'll come up here now. We're approaching a workbench, so you have an opportunity to upgrade. And this chapter's tough because of the humans and also that Stalker section. But I will show you how to do it. There is no do not let the game attack you when you're pulling the crank. You don't have to let them do that. I was having that happen to me, and then I changed my tactics. I applied for some advanced tactics, tongue-in-cheek, and then well, if you don't know that reference, I've done a couple of guides called Advanced Tactics, one of which I'm prouder than of the other. My Sigma 2 guide, I'm really proud of that guide, because that was the first time I cleared the Elizabeth boss fight straight up without any cheap methods or anything like that, and I was very proud of that guide, and it was well received too. A lot of people told me that it was the best guide I've ever made. So when you come up here, you're going to get not a cutscene, just a little transition here where it zooms in on the bridge. You'll jump down here, and then when you jump down here, there are 4 items to pick up. There are machine parts on either side of the street here. There's some vitamins, and then there's also a sugar packet in a briefcase. And the last time I did this guide, I missed one of the shiv doors coming up, and I almost missed it this time again too. So I do get it this time. It's a very lucrative one, so you want to save that up. There's a couple of shiv doors coming up, but this was the section here. Oh, it's not a sugar packet. It's a piece of a bandage. But don't let my telling you, there's 4 items here. There might be 5. I've done this a lot of times, and I've checked all over the place, but all I saw was 4. What happened here on me one time was that I was trying to kill these guys, and I don't think I had got to the point where it locked me into a checkpoint until I had fired all of my arrows. And then every time I died or restarted, it saved the fact that I used the arrows. So, and that's just not acceptable in a game like this where you're trying to conserve stuff. That never happens otherwise. When you restart, this is not like Devil May Cry where they save everything you do. No offense to that game, but it's pretty notorious for doing that kind of stuff. Okay, so a little bit of a jump to this part here. And this part here, what I like to do, and what I would recommend that you do, is first of all, get these 2 items here. I am sure that there are more items all around this place because it just looks like one of those places where they'd hide a lot of stuff. But what I try to do is just get a decent amount of stuff and still access the shiv door and go undetected, because this could be a nightmare if you get detected here. If you don't know, sometimes, so I'm talking about sometimes where there's large areas like this. This guy here, watch out when you go in this room because of the bottles and that crate right there. Be very careful when you're doing the choking animation. Like any animation that you run into or anything on the ground doesn't. It's as though you have invulnerability frames from making noise. But just see, even she's messing with bottles there. That guy gave me one bullet right there, but he has given me 3 before. So what the fuck was that? She was throwing shit, or she must have tripped into one of those bottles. But anyway, if you want to risk getting this one, you can do so. What do we have in here? A quarter of a bandage. I'm going to take that risk. And then we're going to proceed to go upstairs. And there are 3 visible enemies upstairs. And also a shiv room door, which is a very lucrative. There's 2 lucrative ones coming up. So hopefully you have shivs. And what I thought was that you had to have all the enemies killed to open the shiv doors, but that's not true. And I was actually looking at my own guide to make sure where the shiv door was, because I knew there was one up here. So when you come up here, beware of the enemies to the at the far end of the room, and then go very close to this trash barrel. But the thing was, since I got that extra bandage, it threw off this sequence here. But if you don't get that last bandage, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just rewind it. I got the bandage out of the locker. If you don't get that, then you could come up here before this guy makes his little circuit up here, and you don't have to worry about hanging here. But I'm just really greedy to get stuff. Very greedy. So we're going to wait until this guy... His back is turned, but he's going to... I just don't trust him quite yet. Nope, just don't trust him. Okay, now's a great time. So go very close to this trash can. Tap on the triangle button. But try not to tap it so furiously that you might accidentally shiv him, because that's just completely wasteful. But anyway, he drops some ammunition. We'll be coming back to that. At this point, if you want to jump out the window and secure the next checkpoint, you can. But it's very little risk getting this door. I mean, the guy over there, it's as though his cone of vision is even smaller than normal for enemies. So look at what we get here. Scissors, machine parts, a pipe, pills, more scissors, and a note. That is a good room right there. But we will have more lucrative rooms to get anyway. So there was a topic that I was kind of teasing. Not really teasing, but I mentioned it, but it's just easy to run out of time on these type of games in a commentary. But in Chapter 11 of my guide for Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Dragon Sword only, I was mentioning that it would really be nice if there would be a PC version of Ninja Gaiden 2. But the only way I would want that to exist is if it didn't allow for modding. Quite honestly, I know sort of the principle of modding, but I don't know how anybody does it. I don't know like even how it's done. So I would not want it to be able to be manipulated by everybody, because you know it has its problems, but it's an imperfectly perfect game, you know, and vice versa. For me, if the graphics were improved, that would be great. If the frame rate could be 60 frames a second all the time, like locked, like well, I don't know any game that's like that, but maybe Devil May Cry 4. But the first thing people would do would be to stop having the IS ninjas spam their attacks. But if you don't want that, just play Sigma 2. It's pretty simple. So I'm fine with the game as it is, and people will say, "Oh, you're just saying that because you want to draw attention to yourself and you want to be an anomaly, you know? You want to be a differing opinion that's not normal and that will, you know, draw attention to yourself and be a trolling kind of comment." But it's not. The problem that I have with Ninja Gaiden 2 is not anything related to the IS shuriken spam. It's mostly things like the death worm and everything. But the reason I like that game is because of what it is, and I accept its faults. So basically, I would just want to improve graphics. And here's the next shiv door. I missed this in my other guide, but I would like the camera from Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 in Ninja Gaiden 2. You know, just a lot of technical things, but just leave the rest of the game alone. Because there's a way to deal with everything in that game. But if you're doing weapon runs, then it does get really tricky. And I will be publishing the 14th video on Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're not in the U.S., you're going to have to probably ask Google to figure out what that would equal in your neck of the woods. Google's a great tool, but anyway. Okay, so I'm going to maximize my health here. If you want to, you can save that for situations where... Have I mentioned... I've done this commentary like 3 times. I keep getting interrupted. Why is this like this? God. Okay, there's nothing over to the left. I've had to change... Oh my fucking God. I've done this commentary 4 times. It's about 80 degrees in my room, and I can't keep switching where the sections of my the footage is. So I'm sorry about that. I had that fast forwarded, so I'm sorry about that. See, nobody's perfect, so I'm not trying to play perfectly, and Ninja Gaiden 2 is not perfect. Why do I always talk about it? Because it's something that means a lot to me. And if you can't accept that, bye. So, sorry about that, but the next area will be the hotel lobby, and it's a tough chapter as well. So I'll see you in there, and I'll be helping you there. Take care.